Ah yes, one innocent Rubbermaid container containing riding gear, that cost me big time. I was so busy preparing to race a sprint enduro today and taking gear out of there or putting it into my backpack, or sorry, my gear bag, that I forgot my backpack right here, which contains all of my media equipment, including this camera. So the goal was to shoot the Weege show this week while I was racing. That didn't happen, so we'll just do it as I'm unpacking, which is great because if you ever want an excuse to do something else, it's when you're unpacking after a long day at the races, and boy, am I tired. Now, how did my race go? I got 6th in my class, a slow one, but there were more than 6 people in the class, so I consider that good. You know what would really bail you out on a rough day riding hour after hour in enduros in sand, which I did today? Gold valves, and I'll give you a set. Just go to racetech.com/contest/Weege show. Your suspension will be plusher, have better bottoming resistance, and more traction. Gold valves are made and engineered in the USA, so buy a set or win a set. Go to the website now and do it. Yeah, so I was out of my element. I'm not normally a racer. I'm normally going to races to cover others. So while I was concentrating more on the gear bag and the cooler and the boots and the tools over there and all that stuff, I forgot my camera. I was not able to adapt. I was trying to be racer and I was trying to be media guy, and I forgot my camera and I messed up. But adaptation has proven to be key. Succeeding when you've got them in your element. And that's what Cooper Webb did on a fantastic night of racing in San Diego, round 6 of Monster Energy Supercross. Let's get into it. But first, a quick review of last week. You might remember I compared Cooper Webb to the late, great Kobe Bryant. Nice. Anyway, that kind of grit is really what defines Kobe Bryant. It looks great at times, but other times he just figures out a way to get it done through pure determination, and that ended up being the Cooper Webb way down the stretch. Was it weird to compare Cooper Webb to Kobe Bryant? Let's see. This is illegal that I'm probably shooting this, but let's do it.
Kind of allowed Blake to catch up, and I didn't want to do that, so man, that feels good. Late in the race, get that pass and the win. First one of the season. Man, I don't know, Mamba mentality, I guess.
Congratulations, Cooper, you had that guy's...
Mamba mentality. That's Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba. Mamba mentality, that's what makes the difference. When you get late in the race, you are playing Cooper Webb's game, and wow, how the game has changed in just 7 days and a couple of hours. I mentioned on last week's show, if you're Roxon and Tomac and everybody else battling for this championship, you had Cooper Webb right where you wanted him. First of all, he was down in points. Second of all, we all know that Webb responds to confidence maybe more than any other rider. Everyone responds to confidence in their own way, but when he gets it rolling, it really changes the game. And they had him beat for the majority of Oakland, but he came back in that final lap and was able to pass Roxon, which gave him just a nugget, a brief bit of hope that maybe he could get back to these guys. Then, the insiders tell me he worked tirelessly with KTM this week to finally get his bike better in the whoops, and you could tell that Cooper was channeling that Mamba motivation when he was fastest in the first time session, and then said the goal tonight is to be the fastest rider in the whoops. Not just better in the whoops, not just good in the whoops. He was challenging himself to be fastest in the whoops. Now, I don't know if he was fastest. He was definitely faster, but it didn't matter because halfway through the race, that's when it all came into play. Now, a great race early on between he and Cianciarulo, but I think everybody in the building knew the first 10 minutes weren't going to decide this. When Cooper Webb has you in his sights, you've got to brace yourself for the late race charge, and Cianciarulo's smart. He had to know that was coming. But there were problems once Webb started jumping in the whoops, and I cannot believe the game has changed this much. A couple of years ago, Marvin Musquin started jumping whoops and was just really being criticized as, dude, that's a Band-Aid. You've got to skim whoops. Maybe jumping is a little safer, it saves some energy, it allows Marv to use inside lines, entering some sections because he doesn't need the big acceleration drive in, but it was never faster than skimming. Well, Webb started jumping, and Webb has indeed done it. There are now times where Cooper Webb jumping whoops in the second half of the race, when the money is on the line, is faster than skimming. Cianciarulo was trying to run eyes in the back of his head and turn around like his head was on a swivel to try to figure out what was going on back there. But here's the problem for Adam and virtually every other rider not named Webb or Musquin. They don't practice jumping whoops. So once you're having to adapt to jumping, now you're playing Webb's game. And is it a coincidence that Webb usually does his best work late in the race when the whoops become jumpers? Here's the problem, man. It's going to happen over and over and over. We have longer main events than ever. We know that 4-strokes move a lot of dirt, and it's not just the longer mains. Webb has mentioned there are longer heat races, there's longer LCQs. You multiply all that up, and more often than not, those tracks are going to be hammered, and skimming the whoops the way you did in practice isn't going to work in the main event, and Webb used it to his advantage. It was shocking. First of all, great battle between he and Cianciarulo. Cianciarulo did a spectacular job not riding like a rookie and trying to play the chess match with Webb and nearly matching wits with him. But once Webb finally made the pass, you know what Adam was going to do. He was going to send it over the top of those whoops, and he did. He skimmed the whoops after trying to jump a few times. He skimmed them, and it was almost like an optical illusion. Webb was jumping the whoops and pulling away. I never thought we'd get to the point where jumping was not just safer, but also faster. But that's where we are. And Webb has basically taken Roczen's points lead in an hour and a half. Now he's got the confidence. Now he believes that if there are skimming whoops, he's better at that too. This is a dangerous situation for everyone else, and it is shocking that we are here. I truly believe if Webb wasn't able to get Roczen late in that main event last week, this might look completely different. You never want to oversell any one individual race, but we've seen time and time again, 5, 6, you've got to respond around this time of the season. You can't make it happen from round 8 on. And Webb put that on his shoulders to be the fastest guy in the whoops, to get it done no matter what. Now, the one good thing is we did not see him have to square off head-to-head against Tomac and Roczen, so this play will continue for another act. This was not a straight-up win over the two guys that he's battling to try to get the championship from. We know that Cianciarulo learned a lot, so he'll probably be better than ever with some of the lessons learned. And some other guys bounce back. Better ride for Barcia, better ride for Baggett than the last couple of weeks. So there's still a lot of drama and a lot of dynamics at play in this series. But the most dynamic thing of all is that when the track is dynamic and ever-changing, no one seems able to adapt to the conditions like Cooper Webb, and now he's got the confidence too. He's going to be awfully hard to stop. It's kind of like the 2019 style Webb. We'll see. Tomac and Roczen have a chance to come off the ropes this weekend in Tampa, and I'm going to do the right thing and go back to what I normally do, which is go to races that I don't race in and watch others. So I'll see you in Tampa. Thanks for watching The Weege Show.